What's good, YouTube? Jaqui here. Today, we're going to be walking through the Flute Song project file, which just dropped on Never Say Die Volume 7. This was a super fun one to work on. This is a little cut of the full breakdown, which is available on my Patreon. We go through like all the sound design and everything. But yeah, this is a really sick track. I'm super stoked it's finally out. So happy to be a part of the Never Say Die compilation. Just such a cool feeling to be able to put this track out on that compilation. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace out. But the main kind of thing here is this. And then we got this guy down here. More contact stuff. And then we just have like some ambient stuff. And we have the vocal down here.
I'm back with a new one.
And we just have that kind of playing in the intro here.
I'm back.
So we just have like a bunch of delay on the vocal, ping-ponging, if that's even a word. Ping-ponging, I guess. I use the Melda stereo generator to add some stereo to the sound. I like the stereo generator, the Melda one. It just kind of gives like a little bit of clean stereo to the sound. I use for the Ozone multi-band imager probably the most for stereo needs when I'm trying to add stereo to a sound. Kind of like it better than using like a dimension expander, like a Haas effect. Or for the rest of the intro stuff, it's, you know, it's pretty basic. I have this guy right here. This is from a plugin called Hive, which is very good plugin for like intro synths or just an overall plugin. There is a ton of presets in this guy. I've been using it pretty religiously, I would say. Even just for the presets alone, it's very worth just adding it to your arsenal of something to use. But I use it for intros very religiously. That's the main drop sound, which we're going to get into. And everything's just kind of filtered out. So for the build up, so what we really have going on here is just kind of like this vocal. And we have this guy, which is another one of the drop sounds. And we have this guy. We'll go into the actual patch once we actually get into the drop. This is what the drum sounds like. It's really simple. I think I'm just doing a little volume automation on the drums here, like bringing them down about -3 dB as the build-up progresses, just to keep them a little bit quieter, so the drop has a little bit more impact. It's honestly pretty straightforward for the intro. There's not really too much else to go through here. The main thing I wanted to focus on for this breakdown is the drop. For the actual drop drums, while we're on the drums, they sound like this. Kick's pretty basic. So for the sidechain, it's just routed directly to the audio channel for the kick and the snare. So I just can plug them in instead of doing MIDI. It's just a lot easier that way. The actual snare, I think, yeah, we have this Taiki New Light snare. Just a little bit, oh, it's tough. Just a little bit of EQing. Nothing too crazy. And I have the Jaqui Ultimate Clap. It's the saucy clap that only I have. And we just have dynamic EQ, just really reducing that peak. I let this clap ring out pretty wet for this drop, you know, pretty moist, fairly wet, as some might say. I normally don't have that much reverb on my clap, but in this case, you know, it just sounded good. So for the actual hats, this is what they sound like. So we just have a little drum rack here and just some hats layered on top of each other. Basically for the processing on this drum rack, I'm side chaining them again to the drums, just like a little bit less aggressively, just like I want them to be ducking a little bit. I have this Mr. Bill hat betterer rack, which just kind of like, it just helps brighten them up a little bit, makes them a little wet. I have some Pro MB compression on the very high highs and a Pro Q4 spectral EQ on the highs. I've been opting to use this over Soothe a lot lately. It's just a little bit more controlled for me. I like Soothe. I also just don't have it on this computer and I'm not going through all the bullshit iLok stuff to get it on here. So I've been using the Pro Q4 spectral EQ, which gets the job done just fine. If I turn all of this off on my hats, just so you guys can kind of like hear how it actually sounds. It's definitely like making them a little bit quieter and just, you know, compressing them a little bit so that they're not so piercing, which if I don't have that on, obviously they're piercing. But that's basically it for the drums. They sound good like that. It's not really much else to it. So for the basses, it's honestly insane how simple this patch is. This is the patch. It's literally just a bottle wavetable in Reason, and that is quite literally all it is. And I'm just automating the wavetable position, or the index, I guess, of the oscillating, making the index move. Kind of just like messing with them a little bit. Same thing right here. For post, I just have a bunch of distortion. So with no post, this is what this guy sounds like. So the main kind of thing here is just the Mishby. The other thing too that's giving it a little bit of movement is this desync, which we've talked about before. So I just kind of have that up a little bit on the patch. Then down here, this is kind of where we have the rest of the fill basses and stuff, which is the off hit. And then we have this guy down here, which is kind of the other like off fill. So this patch looks like this. Super basic, just distortion, compression in the post. Kind of messing around to like... It's kind of finding a sweet spot there to see where it sounds good without this one. And then I'm using a low pass filter for the movement. And that's just kind of where I landed on, and it sounded good right there. A little bit of sub in there. Literally nothing on the sound. It just kind of like sounded nice in the pocket right there. And then this guy I also have playing. I just have the tape stop on it without this. Then this is our next downbeat hit. Basically nothing. It's same kind of thing here. A little bit of distortion, compression. And then we basically have a square wave, this sine wave, and then we have a low pass filter with a peak. So we're just kind of distorting that peak and using that as the what's kind of giving the tone, but it's like super like pitched down almost. And then for the post processing, it's just EQ rolling off the highs, a little bit of saturation, and then a G clip. And then I'm also layering it down here with this too. This is also playing throughout the drop. And then we have this guy, the classic. And then we have this Xbox Space. That the Neuro audio plugins are really sick. I get ads for them like all the time, but I've had them a little bit before the ads that I've been getting lately. But the Xbox plugins are super, super good for vocals. This is just a nice reverb without this. Just really, really nice. It's just square wave with a low pass filter as usual. This song was really just me kind of like stripping back my process a lot and having fun with messing around with like fairly simple sounds and sound design. And then yeah, then we ended up signing it to Never Say Die, and it's one of my favorite tracks I have. It's a fun one to play out. It's just one of my personal favorite tracks that I've worked on in about the last year, and it took me probably like 5 or 6 months to actually finish the whole thing, like going back and forth on different versions and whatnot, but I'm super happy with the end result. And yeah, there's not really much else. On the master, all I really have is just a Pro L2. I didn't really go crazy on the mastering. I liked how dynamic it felt. I didn't really feel like I needed to do anything too crazy on the master to get this one sounding right. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to drop them down below, and always happy to answer. Have a good day, guys. Peace.